is the platform from which I talk to you about living a life without the captivity of guilt and regret, so that you can use your self-worth to live an empowered, independent, and free life. Because that's what it's all about, right? My name is Bettina Brown, and I am your host, and I will start off by saying that I am not a licensed counselor, psychologist, psychiatrist, but I absolutely am a student of life, a participant on this planet, and a healthcare professional who loves to research. I love to figure out what makes us tick and what makes us want to continue to move on. So if this topic and similar topics are of interest to you, go ahead, subscribe, leave a review. It is completely awesome when I get another subscriber, another listener. It really motivates and inspires me to continue to put out content to encourage and inspire other people. That's really what it's all about. And I enjoy receiving your feedback at bettina@intherising.com, and that's also in the description box below. So welcome to episode 15. And this is the episode that's going to talk about following your dream. I don't know when you will listen to this podcast, but today is March 16th. This is coming out tomorrow, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, 2020. And the world is different than it was last week and 2-3 weeks before, at least for the Western world. These are wild and uncertain times. And for someone like me who's 41 years old, this has never existed before. This is an uncertain time, and I was honestly not sure if I should even put out a podcast. I just was a little stumped by all of the constant changes and not sure what's happening next. New stuff every 5 minutes. And somehow in my whole thought process, and in asking for guidance, I'm not going to lie, I asked for guidance to what do I talk about today? There are a lot of podcasts I pre-plan and have them ready to publish out. But this one I just couldn't get together. But then I remembered this quote, and I'm going to read it to you. It's by Viktor Frankl. And it says this: "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of all human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way." And this man, Viktor Frankl, wrote a book, A Man's Search for Meaning. Maybe you've heard about it before, but what is even more interesting than this quote is that he said this about his situation of having to live for a time in a concentration camp. That they can take your dignity, they can take your life, they can take and circumstances. You can have no control about things around you, which is what freaks us out, right? We're like, I need control. I need to know what's next. But what you can control is your attitude, and no one and nothing can take that from you. And so I started to think, what about all of us that still have businesses we're trying to push, and education we're going through, and marriages and that we're working through, and weddings we're trying to plan, and babies we're going to have? Life doesn't stop because our situations have changed. And I don't believe that our dreams should change either. We don't know the future, but we do know that our mind can still be active and excited about a future, even when we're not so sure. Because perhaps even when we are very sure about what our future holds, there are all these unknowns we don't know. Maybe we are always in a time like this. Things can constantly change, but we just take this idea that something will be right and something will be good. And so that's where I came up with the podcast for today. Dreaming your dreams. And the first thing to do is dream it. Step 1, dream it. Everything begins in the heart and the mind. And how does this relate to you, yourself, and self-worth and self-care? If you don't believe deep down in that heart of yours that you are perfect the way you are for the assignment you feel called to do, you're not going to dream it. You're going to be afraid to dream it. It's not even about all the action steps afterwards, but just the idea and getting excited about it. You're going to stop that right there. You're going to quench that. So just knowing that to dream is your first step. And sometimes we hear people say you should never give up daydreaming because everything you do today was once a daydream to you or for you. But everything has to be sought out, every single thing. So if you're looking to write a book or start a website or become a life coach or finish grad school, work on your PhD, start a home business, or just even other topics such as read more books and get more involved. Hey, start your own podcast. Dream it. Step 2 is believe it. Your dream needs to be big. When we dream small because we don't want to fail, we don't recognize our full potential. That's lying to ourselves. That is just putting out there to the universe, but more importantly, putting out there to you that you don't have enough worth to dream as big and audacious as you can. Because we're all here to do big and audacious things. But I think that some of us just stop. We take one step and we're like, ooh, I'm not sure. No one can be sure. But if you believe you can, you have to have enough belief in your worth and believe that you have power, total power to go forward and move on, that yes, you can move things. Yes, you can. And step 3 is to seize it. And great achievers have a habit. They have a habit of doing things every day that helps them believe in their dream. And it can even expand their dream even further, which helps them believe in themselves more and helps them see how valuable they already have, how much value they have right now, this instant. So you have to be able to see it and build habits that whatever your dream is require. If it's a fitness dream, you can't have a fitness dream without actually having some fitness. And you cannot be a writer without ever writing. There are some habits we need to employ. And you got to go after it. You have to go after it. Step 4. This one stumped me. Tell it. One reason a lot of dreams never go anywhere is because that dreamer keeps it to themselves. Because if you keep it to yourself, then you are not obligated, you are not accountable to actually doing anything with it, right? That's why we keep it locked up in our journal if we even dare to write it down. What about telling the world what your plans are so the world can get excited and you know that you can get excited? You don't want to let down those people, but more importantly, you don't want to let down yourself. So step 1 was dream it. Step 2, believe it. Step 3, see it. Step 4, tell it. And step 5 is plan it. You know, plans need a deadline. I cannot plan to write my book, publish my book, if there's never an end goal. And I can't even get my book published if I don't have something to write it in. I can't get it published on Amazon if I don't even have an Amazon account. I can't have an Amazon account if I don't have an actual bank account. I can't have a bank account if I don't have an LLC formed. I can't have an LLC formed if I never look up what the state I live in requires. And I can never look that up if I never start to even wonder what an LLC is and what the difference is and how do I even get that together. There are plans and there are structures that need to happen. And I'm just talking about self-publishing a book. How can I do even a podcast if I don't learn some basic things about what equipment I need and how do I put it together? What music do I need? Should I do it on Podbean? Should I do it on Lisbon? Should I do it on Buzzsprouts? I got to plan to research. I got to see what works for me. You have to plan something with a date in mind. And you might need to pass on that date a little bit, but you need a date. You got to set some plans. And step 6 is work it. You got to work. You got to work. And yes, when it's something you're passionate about, it doesn't feel like work, but that's what it is. It takes work. It takes effort. It takes saying yes to your dream, number 1, your dream, and number 1, you. It means saying yes to yourself. Like, yeah, I am absolutely going to go after this. Because it's not about the success in someone else's eyes. It's about what you have achieved. That sometimes you might be the only one that believes in. And step 7 is enjoy it. Enjoy it. You know, there's so much out there that we don't enjoy, right? So much out there that can bring us down. But the things I really enjoy to do, I find time to do them. I find ways to work it. I find ways to plan it. I get excited to talk about my podcast. I get excited to talk about what I'm doing. It may never be number 1 on the chartable list. It may never be the number 1 bestseller. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have impact. That doesn't mean it doesn't impact the person it's supposed to impact. And what if that person just may happen to be me? What about that? What about that? How many times have people that are really influencers like Oprah, Denzel Washington? I love Denzel. I have such a crush on that man. But what about people that have really changed lives, countries? What if they never dreamt it and believed it in the first place? And what about if Viktor Frankl never chose his attitude in that situation? Would he have even survived that concentration camp? Would he have even had the gall to write that book? And what about would he have had the courage to write that quote? That everything can be taken from a man but one thing, that last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. You have, and I have, an awesome ability and responsibility, an ability to respond to our current situation and to situations unknown in the future, good, bad, otherwise, all based on our perspective and all based off some real hard, cold truth. But we have that capacity to choose, to dream our dream, to believe in it, to see it, to tell it to the world in excitement, to plan it out carefully, to work the way it deserves to be worked in order to be fulfilled, and all the while enjoying, truly enjoying what we're doing, because that joy spreads. That's the joy we can bring to others. So I know your time is valuable today. This one's a little shorter than usual. I appreciate your time to listen. I so do. And if you found this episode valuable, go ahead and share it with someone, or leave a review, or subscribe on this platform. I totally appreciate it. And you can drop a line by emailing me, or check out my Pinterest account, my Instagram. Those are all things down there. Let's connect. That's what life is all about, building connections. But I'll see you guys next Tuesday, and let's keep building one another up.